So it should be recording now. So welcome everybody to our webinar about our Hunt EU project. And we are delighted that we have so many teachers registered to hear and see our demo. My name is Christine Bogen. I'm a staff member of the MTU, Munster Technological University in the southwest of Ireland. We are the coordinator, and I'm very happy to have a wonderful partnership of 6 partners in our project. Just maybe reminding you about the agenda that was on the Eventbrite. We're gonna have, starting off with Thomas and our team, our Danish partner, and that goes back to our previous project Hunt, and now we do Hunt for Europe 2.0. And that should be half an hour. Then credit where credit is due. Each partner will come on board and give you a brief summary of their storyline. And that should be most interesting. And then we're finishing up then for the last half an hour with a question and answer session in relation to our projects and the demo. So I would say we could start now. Thomas, do you want to take it away and share your screen?
Sure, definitely. But before I start sharing my screen and lose everybody's attention, just a few things like welcome one, welcome all to today's talk about and demo of the Hunt for Europe 1 and 2 projects. My name is Thomas. I'm the CEO of a Danish games development company named Ludus XR, and we specialize in developing IT platforms, tools, games in EU projects. As Kristen said, the agenda is that for the first half hour here, I will do an introduction to the overall project with exemplification of what it consists of. Then for the next half hour, we have an introduction to the individual components by each of the present partners, and then QA time. So before I say much more, I want to show you something. And hopefully you can see it, and mind your ears. I don't want to blow them off. Volume is always a tricky thing. Yes, so that is actually an old video we made of one of the first components of the platform that I'm going to show you. So hopefully now your hair is standing up from the massive volume, and you've seen some of the images from some of the games that we will present to you in the next half hour. So first and foremost, what is the Hunt for Europe project? And you can say that administratively, it's actually 2 separate Erasmus Plus projects co-sponsored by the EU, involving partners from Greece, Spain, Italy, Ireland, Germany, Austria, and Denmark. And each partner will introduce themselves in turn. Technically, it's a computer game, an online computer game for learning the language and culture of each of the partners. It consists of 2 parts: a teacher-developed e-learning platform with curriculum content, and basically, and hopefully with all the necessary content to quickly gain knowledge of and understanding of the desired language and culture. And then the second part, a 3D game or a simulator, I usually call it, where you can try the things that you've learned and see if they work. So actually a virtual world that you walk around in and interact with non-player characters. And the thing is that if you do really well inside of the games, then you may end up meeting a few historical characters that you would never meet otherwise. Yeah, so those were the main components of the initial project and still are in the 2.0 project. But now what we are also developing on top of this is we're inputting artificial intelligence into the platform so that it will actually monitor the learner or player's progress and how well he or she is doing, and advise him or her on what content might be relevant to focus on next or moving forward. And also multiplayer functionality inside the game, which means that we could have a person, a player, a learner sitting in Spain and one in Greece, and they could play the different levels together. They have to verbally interact inside the game. They can talk to each other verbally. They can also write messages to each other, just like you would. Actually, this is going to be a massive comparison, right? But I think everybody has heard of World of Warcraft and Counter-Strike Go, et cetera, and we know how motivating these games are, and how many people, whether it be younger people or older people, play these games. And we are trying to tap into the same motivational mechanisms in what we're doing today. All right, enough. Let me show you, rather than, or as I talk you through the individual components as well, what it is that I'm talking about. And I should quickly say that usually you can access these games and the e-learning content from our website, huntforeurope.eu. But I deleted the website a couple of days ago. I actually deleted it. Have you ever heard of that before? I completely wiped the website out. And since I work in IT, we don't do backups, so I have to recreate it otherwise. So it's going to be a couple of days before it's accessible again, but you will be able to reach it from there once more. Yes, having admitted that blatant failure, let me show you. So I talked about, an e-learning system. And basically, what we have created for each partner language is, consider it a, everybody who is not talking, could you mute your microphone just so that we avoid too many people talking on top of each other? I'm not a person who can multitask, so if people are talking to me at the same time, I don't know what I'm saying. But basically, what we have created is an e-learning system, much in a book-like fashion, so that you have certain chapters in your book with an introduction, and within each chapter, you will find lessons. So right now, I'm showing you the content from the Danish platform, where you can see we've divided it into 5 chapters. Inside of each chapter, there are 5 lessons, and there's 1 game scene. So 5 lessons in chapter 1, 1 game scene. 5 lessons in chapter 2, 1 game scene. Structure is the same across all the languages, as far as I recall. Now, these lessons are not ordered in degree of difficulty or similar. They are ordered according to content. So for lesson 1.1, you would have content relating to saying hello and goodbye. So introducing yourself, meeting people, greeting people, saying goodbye to people, ordering at the cafe. All right, so knowing or learning about food groups and drinks and paying and currency and similar. Describing yourself, tall, short, light, dark, brown, red, yellow, in case you need to go dating or similar. That's a very appealing ability to have in a foreign language. So that's how we've ordered these different lessons. Now, each lesson is basically constructed in a way, you have to imagine an advanced PowerPoint presentation, basically, because it consists of slides. You can't really see the ruler down here. Well, part of it you can. And that will actually indicate to you how many slides are in this particular lesson. We always start out the lesson by giving you learning objectives. What is it that you're supposed to be able to do once you're done with this lesson? And we try to be specific. After completing this lesson, you will be able to greet others formally and informally, greet others at different times of day. So saying good morning, good afternoon, good evening, that sort of thing. You have the option of having this text translated. So if you don't speak or read English, you can have it translated into a language of your choice. We have about 80 languages available. You can also have it read out loud via text-to-speech if you have problems reading. So in essence, I could translate this into Arabic and have it read out loud. I think there is a text-to-speech engine that does that. All right. Then we show you a short video where we use the characters that we also use in the game, and they meet each other in one of the environments that we have in the game, and they try to talk to each other using the specific vocabulary and cultural artifacts like hugging or shaking hands that we also want you to learn in the game. So basically, just to show you a brief excerpt.
Hej Anna, hvordan går det?
Hej Peter, det går fint tak. Hvad med dig?
Det går også fint, tak. Det er Bob, en kollega fra Hawaii.
Hej Bob, velkommen til Vejle.
Tak.
Jeg hedder Anna.
So, and now you all being roaringly familiar with Danish will have an idea of what my native language sounds like. And then we can move on. So we have exercises in the e-learning materials as well. Just basic questions, who's the first one to leave? I think it's Anna. I answer, and I find out is wrong. On to the next one. Okay, so and then we get into the whole learning the vocabulary. So the first thing we think you should learn is how to say hi in Danish. So I can listen to a model pronunciation.
Hi.
I think you can hear that. And then I can try it myself and have it evaluated by the speech recognizer that we've built into the system. Hi. Oh, and apparently my Danish is functional here. So I get a check mark. I can also say yada yada. And I get a wrong one. I can listen to my own pronunciation yada yada to see if it's way off or something else. But we have built a speech recognition system into both the e-learning material and the game with the specific purpose of letting you practice your oral proficiencies inside of the game. Then there are the cultural things that we would also like you to learn. Like when you come to Denmark, Danes shake hands. At least we used to before I've heard of some disease that came crawling a while back. But in Denmark, we shake hands. Sometimes if I meet a person that I know really well, I will give him her a hug. But just to try and be funny, if you're Italian and I meet you for the first time and you try to kiss me 3 times on each cheek, I might panic or ask you to marry me or similar, because it's very unusual for me. But here we try to give you an idea of what are the standard cultural artifacts that we use in our culture that you should be familiar with. And then we continue moving on to more vocabulary. We move into sentences, how's it going? Combining it, hi, how's it going? Building like that. All right, and also realizing I only have half an hour to do this, so let me just click through some of this. You will see more exercises. I have specific points here, more exercises. Listening exercises are here as well.
Det går fint.
As you can see, I am getting immediate feedback on it. There's a little bit of grammar, more sentences, listening, talking. Hold on, don't get busy. And now you see it changes to quiz instead. Now you saw with the exercises, I get immediate feedback. This was right or wrong. And I can think, oh, why was it wrong if it was wrong? With the quizzes, we try to summarize the entire lesson and we don't give you any feedback initially. So here, if I just click through them, you can see it says answered, but it doesn't give me any feedback. And I just have to do this with all 10 of them. So bear with me. Speaking exercises. You can also see it doesn't actually allow me to progress until I have answered this one. So I can't finish this without answering all the questions. And Boom, there you have it. So I've done all the 10. You can see I scored 40%. So I got 4 correct out of 10. It tells me which ones were correct, which ones were wrong. What was my answer? What was the right answer in this case? And I can also go back and have a look at the answer that I gave, just if I want to check whether the system is cheating me or if it's actually correct that I did this wrong. All right. I'll just park this one over here for a second because I want to show you something when we come back to it. But okay, so now I've learned to say hi and goodbye to people. I've learned to shake hands, etc. Now I would like to try this out. So this is where I have the opportunity of going into the games portion of the platform. Here, I've gone into the first level that we have in the game. And just like before, you can see this is my avatar. His name is Bob Johnson. He's from Hawaii. He's a journalist. He's come to Denmark to do research on a book. And as part of that book, he has to find Denmark's birthplace. Where was my country born? And what he will find in the end is that he will find what we call the Yelling Mounds, big stones in Jutland, which were erected by Harold Bluetooth back in 960 AD. It's a rune stone, and that is actually the first stone where you find the word Denmark written out loud. So that's what we say. That's like our birth certificate, and that's what Bob has to locate. But again, you can see we're giving you a briefing on where are you, what are you supposed to do. That's really nice to know. And the learning objectives we list over here as well. Meet your friend Peter and your new acquaintance Anna. Okay, and after that, I will try. I know it might lag a little bit when I show it to you, so I'll try and do this slow. But just to show you a little bit of the 3D environment that we're working with. And I can move around. I can also run because there are dangerous bicycles. You can see there's a kiosk which I have to visit at some point. And this is an actual place. So this is a real place that exists in a town here in Denmark, in the city of Vejle. So the idea is, I mean, just like, again, perhaps a little bit of an exaggerated comparison, but imagine pilots flying in simulators. They would like it to feel real when they do it. And we know we aren't quite image realistic in what we do, but we would like to recreate real environments where you go and practice these things so that once you get out as a learner, as a player, you get out into the real world and you're thinking, wait a minute, I've been here before, I've done this before, and I know this place. So that is part of the idea behind that. Oops, sorry. Now I know that Peter and Anna are over here. So let's try this
Hej
out.
Bob.
So I run over there and Peter greets me. Now I have to choose. Do I want to hug him or do I want to shake hands with him? Since I've learned that shaking hands is a common thing that Danes do, I go over and shake hands. And then I can start talking to him. Goddag.
Det er lidt formelt for venner. Du kan nøjes med at sige hej.
Oh.
Det er Anna.
So he introduces me to Anna. Hvordan går det?
Det går fint, tak. Hvad med dig?
Det går fint, tak.
Hyggeligt at møde dig.
I lige måde. And now comes the waiter. But hopefully what you can see is I actually...
Hvad skulle det være?
Yeah.
Jeg vil gerne bede om en dansk vand.
Jeg vil gerne bede om en kop kaffe uden sukker.
Yeah.
Gerne. Og til dig?
And now it's my turn to order something. And I'm actually supposed to order something to drink. But you can see this turned green now. That means I fulfilled my first objective. So I've met Peter and Anna and greeted them. And hopefully, as you saw, that if I can make myself understandable to the non-player characters, they respond in the right way. And the conversation continues. I could... Now,
Undskyld, hvad sagde du?
yeah, see, there you go. What I want to show you is that what if I don't remember what I'm supposed to say? Because, I mean, we do try to limit you in the game as well. So we can't let you, for greetings, we allow you to say good day and hi Peter. We can't as yet compensate for everything going, hey, howdy, how's it going? And 1,000 other variants. So we try to limit you a little bit. And if what you're trying to say doesn't work, you can always double click on the microphone and you will actually be able to see the choices you have at the moment, but they are based on what you learned in the e-learning system. So that is the thing in there. All right. That's the basic functionality of the game. So here I have to order something to drink and answer Anna's questions about my stay and find out where the museum is located, et cetera, go to the kiosk and buy a map and a phone card, etc. And that kind of completes level 1 for me. All right, let me show you something else. So going back, now you've seen the basic functionality of what I call the Hunt for Europe Part 1 project. And now you'll see some of the stuff that we're working on for the second one. I mentioned artificial intelligence, so I'll go back to this slide. So basically, what we're trying to do in here is, I'll show you the bottom, which I didn't show you before. This is something new that we're working on in this Hunt for Europe project. So suggestions for the next lesson. So for all the exercises and interactable content in the e-learning system, we've tagged it according to CEFR, the CEFR scale, and divided them into general and oral and listening and those categories and what degree of difficulty they are. So based on your choices in the platform, we actually try to monitor how well are you doing in general or in oral proficiency or reading, listening, writing. And then we try to, based on those results, we try to suggest to you, where should you go next? If you have many answers wrong, we guide you to, or try to guide you to material that is easier or more relevant to you. If you're very good at, if you're perfect at speaking, then maybe we don't spend too much time more there, but we try and push you to writing instead, because that might be more interesting or a better upskilling option to send you to. Boom. So that's the idea behind the artificial intelligence thing. Now I mentioned multiplayer game. That's where I turn to my two colleagues and friends, Stefan and Rene, and they will show you a demo of what that works like. But basically, you play as two people inside the same environment, but this time you have to work together to complete the objectives, and also to find some secret stuff that you need throughout the game. So, Stefan, Rene, is that a fair pass over to you guys?
A fine crossover.
I'll shut up.
Yeah. Do you want to share your screen, Stefan?
Yeah, I'm on my way to share screen. There we go. Can everybody see my screen?
Looks good.
Cool.
Yeah, looks good. Thank you.
Cool. Okay, so just to remind everybody that this is still a work in progress, and we have only been working on this project for a few months now, so there will be some white boxes and some floating stuff maybe, and some UI that is not looking quite nice yet. But so first off, you open the menu, and here you can either join a lobby and try and find someone to play with, or if you already have some friends or someone you want to play with, you can go and create a room. In here, you can create your own room. Right now, I'll just name my room GG. Then I will create a room. Then I will wait for my friend to join. So in this case, Rene will join my room. Here he is. In here right now, we can choose different countries and then select which scene we want to play. So right now, for the testing purposes, we're just going to play the Danish scene. Then you can then start the room, and then we just load for a few seconds. When the loading is done, you will now be greeted with a briefing quick of what you need to do in the level. So right now it's just a basic test. Then you can close the briefing, and then you now have control of your character. Right now, it's the same character that in the game. But then your objective right now is to find Peter at the cafe. So me and Rene will then walk over to the cafe area. You can see at the top left corner is the quest that you need to complete. So in this case, we need to find Peter. and in the top right you can see what player type you are. Right now I'm player 1, and at Rene he's player 2. So when you go up to the cafe, and then you can talk to Peter and enter a dialogue. Then when you enter the dialogue, you will be greeted this menu. Here you can see that this is my player 1, and Peter says hello. Then I have the option to either say hello or nice to meet you. You can right now you can click on these to respond, or you can use this R button to record yourself. So hello, and then it recognized it, and then it continues the dialogue. Then the waiter comes, and then it's now locks my screen because now it's player 2, so Rene's turn to answer the question. This dialogue right now is just a test dialogue for the testing purposes, but in real, when you actually play the game, it will be a full dialogue with the characters and talking about what you need to order and stuff. So after this, you have to go to the kiosk to buy a map, as you can see at the quest. But just to skip ahead and the game, so after you buy a map and all that, at some point you will have to complete some quests to progress to the level. And in this case, we have to find something in this park area where in the future it will say Denmark in the ground, and then the player has to stand on the D and the K after Denmark. So when me and Rene goes into these testing cubes right now, it will then complete the quest, and then this will unlock the church, which is up here, when we can go in and get the coin that we need to find in each level. So if we just go up here, then the church here should now be open. So now you can go here and enter the church. Then you get teleported into the church area. And of course, as I mentioned, it's not done yet, but it's a work in progress. Then in here, you have to work together. You have to find 2 levers at the church. So I go over to this side, okay, and Rene will go over there, and then we will pull the lever in 3, 2, 1 now. And then if we pull the lever at the same time, then we will, I don't think we did it. We need to do it again. This needs teamwork. Okay, press the button, Rene.
I did.
Yeah, there we go. Then it will spawn a coin, or the final artifact that you will find in the level. And then you can go around and pick it up. And now I've picked up this coin. Then you can press the E key on your keyboard to see what artifact you found. And in this case, it's a coin of the Hans Christian Andersen from Denmark, which is an artifact you need to find in each level with different cultural people on it that you can use to do something in the final level. Besides that, this is also multiplayer. You have the ability to work together, but you also, as Thomas mentioned, you have a chat in the bottom, so we can actually write to each other. I can say, hey, Rene, and then this will show up on Rene's screen. I also have the ability to join a voice chat. I cannot show this on the Zoom call, but then I could actually talk with Rene in the game without having other services needed for this. So yes.
I think we can, but it would probably result in endless echo.
Yeah, so but yeah, that is the basic demo of what we're working on right now for the Hunt 2.
Thank you, guys. Fantastic. I think just to kind of comment on that last part, I mean, in my head at least, I think this opportunity for the multiplayer aspect of it, that you can both have 2 students from the same class speaking the same language. They can play the game either in school and talk to each other while doing it, or sitting at home and do it from there, and either use the voice chat to talk together about what to do and remind each other, what am I supposed to say in this context? But you can also have 2 players with completely different nationalities and languages working together. We are going to build the EU Parliament as a hub from where you can choose a language that you want to learn, a level where you want to go in and play. And if you don't bring a friend, then we will automatically spawn, so to speak, a friend in there with you. So 2 random people could meet each other. And if they want to learn Spanish, both of them, and one is from the Ukraine and the other one is from Portugal, they have to both communicate in Spanish inside the game. They also have to communicate with each other, either verbally or in writing. So it might be that that they have to find their common lingua franca to make this work as well. So I'm imagining the Babel Tower in a fantastic fashion here. Cool. I think that's unless Stefan and Renee have additional comments. I think that's our initial pitch and preview of the current platform, and I think then it's definitely the partners' turn to talk about their platforms. And while that is happening, I will do my best to show you some of the environments for those specific languages as well. So the question is, who wants to go first?
And I just say thank you so much, Thomas and Renee and Stefan. That was a lot to process for anybody who is a newcomer. But we have our half an hour for the Q&A session anyway. So all chill, all cool, wonderful. And you gave a really nice overview. And I think you also clarified, if anybody was a bit confused, the difference between, the first project and now the second. I actually didn't want to mention the website, okay? I decided already that I was gonna, so I just admit somewhat, that I was gonna be quiet on that, but we're gonna do a follow-on email to each participant, and we might just do the link to where they can access the material that we just showed, because it's not available on the website at the moment. But Thomas and his team already promised to have it rebuilt in no time, just like Rome.
Certainly.
Okay, so thank you so much. So now we come into our second session, which would be each partner explaining for 5 minutes. And thank you so much for very splendid timing, Thomas, Renee, and Stefan. So everybody has about 5 minutes to explain their storyline. Now, I was going to start with our Danish partner, which is you, Renee, and Stefan, but you already touched on it, Thomas. Do you want to add any other details on your storyline?
Actually, I think I hope my brief overview of our storyline was sufficient. Maybe just a small comment that when we move to the multiplayer faction, we kind of forget that there is a personal storyline in the first one. In the multiplayer faction, you are yourself, player 1 and player 2, and we are also working on making a small avatar, not a selector. Yes, thank you. That's the word that I was looking for. So that you can kind of customize what do you want to look like as a computer character. So.
Just one suggestion, do you actually just want to show briefly, remember when you have the choice with all the characters at the start of the course selector, do you want to share that screen and show us actually the character? So I would start, if it's okay with our Spanish partner, to give the storyline, and then maybe Thomas, you could show us actually the picture of the Spanish character, and then our Spanish partner can talk about it, please.
Okay.
Yes, I might be scrambling a little to find those images because I was preparing on showing the 3D environments. But I'll do my best to find all of it.
Or do you know where you can find it? If you look at the brochure, if you share the brochure with us on the admin project platform.
Yeah, I can do that. But usually it would be on the website.
Okay. Yes, please.
Okay, good afternoon. I'm going to present you the storyline of the Spanish game. In the search for Isabel, you can play with another players and achieve learning objectives and collect some coins with Spanish famous characters. The story of the Spanish game is that the player wants to know more about Spain and Valladolid city and research the role of Isabel I of Castilla. She was a famous queen during the years 1474 till 1504. Isabel I was a queen of Castile and Leon who lives between the middle of the 15th and the beginning of the 16th centuries. Her reign is notable for a number of important events, including the completion of the Reconquista, the establishment of the Spanish Inquisition, and Christopher Columbus' 1492 voyage, which the monarch supports and financed. Isabel was married to Ferdinand II secretly in Palacio de los Viveros in Valladolid. Ferdinand became the King of Aragon. In 1479, Isabel was recognized as the new Queen of Castile. This union served to unify Spain physically and spiritually. Whilst playing through the different chapters and adventures, you will have to work as a team to collect coins which symbolize famous Spanish characters, which are Montserrat Caballé, Salvador Dalí, Don Quixote, El Cid, and Antoni Gaudí. In the last chapter, you will complete a specific task, and together with these collect coins, you will set the tormented soul of Isabel free. During the game, you will learn typical Spanish cultural life. For example, different sorts of coffee, what is typical food, how to greet people, and other social behaviors. We hope you will join our game and learn Spanish with Isabel the Queen. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Natalia. Excellent summary.
Thanks.
Well done. I'm sure there will be questions in our last half an hour. If I may ask next our Irish partner, please, which would be my colleague Catherine and my project assistant Eugene, please, if you give a brief summary about our storyline.
Thanks, Christian. Okay, Eugene, will I go first and start? I was delighted to see that Natalia mentioned Christopher Columbus, because as it happens, we're going to, I suppose, look at St. Brendan in our scenario in Ireland. And I don't know if you've heard of him before, but in Ireland, we think that St. Brendan discovered America before Christopher Columbus. So I'll tell you a little bit about that. 1,000 years before Christopher Columbus. Maybe that's the reason why there's so many Irish people in America. Who knows? So the hero or the main character in our story is St. Brendan. He was born in a village called Feenit, and Feenit is in the southwest of Ireland, about 10 miles from our university here. And he was born in the year 484. Now, obviously, when we started this project, excuse me, we were thinking about the logo of our college. I just put my card there. You can see that this is the old logo. And this is a little boat, a little sailboat. And it was actually St. Brendan's boat that was the logo for our college. And I suppose it symbolized the idea of the journey of education and the journey of learning. So it fits in really well with this particular project. So what did St. Brendan do? Well, when he was 26, he was ordained a priest, and he traveled all around Ireland, and not just Ireland, but Scotland, and he even went to Sicily in Italy. So I know we have a lot of Italian people logged in today. So our St. Brendan, all the way from the southwest of Ireland, he went to Sicily, and there is a church named after or dedicated to him called, excuse my Italian, Chiesa di San Blandano, I think. So if you're ever in Sicily, you can check it out. About 10 or 15 years later, St. Brendan, at the age of 40, decided to set out on an epic journey to find paradise, Paradiso. And there's an awful lot of stories about this journey. He wrote this manuscript called Navigatio. I think it sounds Italian, but it's Navigatio isn't the name of the manuscript. And it was used all over Europe to help, I suppose, sail or to charter uncharted waters. And it apparently, Christopher Columbus did refer to St. Brendan's manuscript when he found America for the second time. Well, after St. Brendan. That's the story we say anyway. So, and that was 1,000 years later. So in Ireland, St. Brendan is known as the navigator. He's also the patron saint of sailors and travelers. And a lot of Irish boys might be called Brendan or Benny. So in maybe you might have Ben or Benito in Europe. What we have Ben is short for Brendan. And in Feenit, in the village where he was born, again, 1500 years ago. There is a beautiful statue at the very edge of the village overlooking the Atlantic and pointing out to, I suppose, the New World. And we were delighted, I suppose, to use Brendan as the main character. And in the Hunt game, hopefully you'll get a chance to play it at some stage. You will learn a little bit more about Brendan. I've told you a lot of it now, but you'll see maybe where he studied, where he traveled to, the names of his manuscripts. And so you learn a little bit about Irish history and also about a beautiful part of Ireland. So I think that's St. Brendan. I don't know, Eugene, if you want to add to that on the technical side.
Thanks so much, Kerstin. Yes, Eugene, do you have anything that you would like to add?
Yeah, just to touch on the kind of the multiplayer aspect for the Irish one.
Yeah.
Basically, you'd be playing for 2 players, one Pavan, who's a researcher at the University of London, and Badari, who is a administrative assistant in the London Business School. And basically, as you saw there before, basically you start off at the Tralee bus station, to which point you have to navigate from scene to scene and complete certain objectives. At the beginning, you have to find directions to a museum, order a cup of coffee, answer questions about yourselves, make an appointment, giving a date and time, and then last but not least, buy a map of Tralee, which would then basically trigger the quest, basically, to find St. Brendan's stolen artifacts. So upon obtaining the map, basically a hologram of St. Brendan will appear and ask for a quest to find the artifact in the form of coins, which you've already seen, with cultural personalities. Now, for the Irish one, we were thinking of doing maybe James Joyce, who is an Irish novelist, Tom Crean, who's an Irish seaman, Samuel Beckett, an Irish novelist, John Butler Yeats, and Oscar Wilde. So over the course of 5 scenarios, you'll basically uncover artifacts relating to each of those personalities in relation to Irish culture. So that's pretty much it.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that additional information, which is really, really nice to again have more info on our project that we're currently working on. If I may move on, please, to our Italian partner.
Okay, it's me at the moment. So I'm not sure I'm going to talk for 5 minutes, Christian. I'll try. Okay. So the Italian story develops in Turin, and it's the story of a girl from Israel that arrives at Porta Nuova station. That is the station that you're seeing now, and that our Danish team has created in a perfect way. Azadeh arrives there, and then she has to fulfill some tasks in Italy, because she has to start working at the Egyptian Museum. So she has breakfast at the station, cappuccino and brioche, I think, something very typical. And then she moves to a tobacco shop that is near the station, where she buys some tickets. Then she has to book a room in a hotel, and then to go to this municipality where she has to get her documents. And then she has to move in the city to reach the Egyptian Museum, where she has to meet the director for her first job interview. As other teams have done, we have tried to give important inputs concerning the Italian language, of course, because there are dialogues, there are audio files, exercises, a bit of grammar, but we have also given important inputs concerning the Italian culture. So we're going with this platform and this game, we are going to give something more to the players concerning our way of being Italian. So we talk, for example, we explain how Italians speak, not only with the mouth and the voice, but also with hands. We talk about merenda, that is something typical in Italy, but we also talk about historical buildings in Turin, for example. So we give a complete glance to the player. That is in Hunt for Europe 1. In Hunt for Europe 2, Azadeh does not arrive alone at Porta Nuova station, but there is a friend. And with this friend, she has to cooperate to solve some interesting things and to find some coins. I don't want to reveal you too much about it. And they have to cooperate to reach at the end something very important. The historical character we have chosen is Cavour, that was born in Turin and has had an important role in the Italian history. In Hunt for Europe 1, Azadeh will meet Cavour in a very mysterious scenario that our Danish team has recreated perfectly, and it is a part of Turin in the underground. So you will discover everything by using Hunt for Europe platform. What I wanted to say is that we have already used this platform, and that is available on a hub, as a hub, and many students have used it, and it works perfectly as a hub, and it's very, very useful. Okay, that's it.
Thank you so much, Simona. Another wonderful summary. And it's so nice to actually have the visual input at the same time that we can share that with our participants. If I may move on now to our second last example of a storyline, which is actually a wonderful collaboration between our German and our Austrian partner. Please, could you take it away? Thank you.
Thank you. I'll give you a quick overview about the German/Austrian version in our game, which is The Search for Beethoven. You are Stephen Miller. He's an aspiring componist from England who has come to Austria to find inspiration from Ludwig Beethoven's work. And at the beginning of the game, you have just arrived in Vienna, where you are to meet your friend Mariah and get the address to the Vienna Concert Hall. And once you get there, you want to meet the conductor of a current Beethoven concert and get to some further information about what makes Beethoven's compositions so special. And he in turn will provide you assistance in finding the main objectives of your assignment, the tomb of Ludwig van Beethoven. And what you don't know yet is that once you find the tomb, you will encounter the ghost of Ludwig van Beethoven, who intends to examine whether you have learned enough about the German language and culture to pass the test. This is, in broad terms, the story, and I won't go into details now of the changes in Hunt for Europe 2. There are some interesting characters we tried to present via our coins the players will find during their game. But giving back to you, Christine, for the rest of the information. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Anybody from the German team who wants to add something, or maybe move on to our last example, if that's okay? Then I would like to ask our Greek partner to please give their summary. Thank you so much. Please take it away.
Christine. Hi all, I'm Evgenia, and this is my colleague Anna from Vardakio School from Syros Island. Syros is a small island in the Aegean Sea in Greece. And I want to say, first of all, that I'm very thankful to be part in this project because among all the things, it's the first time that I think Hermoupoli, the capital of Syros, the port, is being represented in a 3D environment, and also with with very nice graphic designs. Not only Hermoupoli, also some places outside Hermoupoli. So we are really happy about that. And our storyline now, we have selected as our historical person, Ferekidis. He is not a well-known philosopher, but we feel that it's nice people to know who was. He was a pre-Socratic philosopher. He spoke about the earth and how the earth was born. He was born in Syros on the 6th century before Christ. And during the game, at least in the first game, you had the chance to see the hologram of Ferrekidis, and you will see it also in the second, Hunt for Europe, and to see also the place where he lived, his cave, because he used to select, he selected two caves, a winter cave and a summer cave, that he went there to meditate. And perhaps you know Pythagoras, the philosopher and the mathematician, who was a student of Ferrekidis and who loved so much his philosopher, his teacher, that he came from Samos island to Syros, and when he died, he went to Delos, the ancient island, and went there to bury him. So we're seeing now in the screen Maria Gonzalez. This is the main heroine, who is a teacher of philosophy from Caracas, from Venezuela. And she's coming to Syros to find more information about Ferrekidis. And in the second Hunt for Europe, she's coming together with her colleague Juan, who is also a philosopher. What else? In the new Hunt for Europe game, we have also 5 coins, 5 historical persons, which behind of them there are some quizzes that Ferrekidis sets these quizzes. So these philosophers are Pythagoras, Socrates, Plato, Aristoteles, and Thales from Miletus. So you will have more information about other philosophers. And also, as my other colleague said, during the game you have the chance to receive cultural elements, to learn things about food, about how Greek people drink coffee, what do you do when you are invited in a house, what presents or sweets you bring. Generally, I think it's a very interactive way to learn a language, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Evenia and Anna. Again, most interesting story that we looked at, and wonderful images. When we see, I think, all these lovely images, which are all recognizable, and fair play to all the designers, because you don't have to guess, you can recognize. And we've been, for example, to Syros. It definitely awakes the travel longing once more to see all these lovely places. That concludes our second session. Thanks for everybody who participated in giving you more details, and also you get an idea of the international partnership that's involved. Oh yes, Thomas, well done. Yes, that's a wonderful summary of all our characters that you can find in the game. Yeah, wonderful idea. Now we come to the third part, and we are actually in good timing, which is the question and answer session. And Thomas, would you mind being the moderator for that, and then I conclude with some last information at the end. Thank you so much.
Hold on 2 seconds. I have so many screens open now. I have sound coming everywhere. There we go, I think. Sorry, Kristen, you asked me to be a moderator? I believe you're muted.
Yeah, muted. Yeah,
yep.
I was muted, sorry. And I conclude then with just a last info. I conclude the webinar, if that's okay with you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, definitely any kind of question that you may have. Either on the development process itself, the different scenarios, the e-learning materials, the multiplayer aspects, the artificial intelligence, why did I destroy the website? Similar questions, all very welcome. I have no problems admitting my mistakes because I can't hide it.
Yeah, Thomas, we have a question from Stratita.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yes, almost overlooked it.
Okay, so my question was about the availability of the whole platform. Will this be a browser game based, or do you have to download it on your computer to play this or interact and learn?
Right. So it's actually a two-part answer, because the initial project, the Hunt for Europe 1, is an online so-called WebGL browser game. So you play it in your browser, preferably Google Chrome is what we're using. For the multiplayer aspect, we will create downloadable installation files because, well, for many different reasons, actually. One is that they load much faster, and there is some of the features that we implement for multiplayer are just extremely difficult to implement in an online setting.
Okay, that's why I was wondering about, because some of the graphics would be like a pain to load online via browser game if you want to actually run this while waiting for the interactions to come from another player. That's why I was like wondering how will this work and if there is something behind it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Stefan, I don't know if you want to add something to my answer. I mean, you are the tech guy, so you know the details much better than I do.
No, I mean, you pretty much said why we have decided to make the Hunt for Europe 2 and download instead of a web, because it's just much easier to make it run all the technical stuff with the multiplayer and sending data and all that. And the new, we're trying to improve the graphics more and stuff, and it's WebGL is not that improved or to handle all of this multiplayer stuff. So.
Yeah, thank you. Anything else? I mean, we while you all think of questions, I can obviously add that we are extremely excited to have so many people today, because we are hoping, as you saw with the multiplayer interactions, for instance, we are still at a very early stage, showing you what it is that we're trying to build. Obviously, we'd very much like to be able to test this on real users, also long before we come to a final product, so that we can continually ensure that we are making something that people are interested in using. So obviously, if you are an institution or somebody interested in participating in testing the platform, don't hesitate in shooting us an email. We won't handcuff you or anything once you're in the project, but we would be very appreciative of any kind of time that you can spare for testing and providing feedback. Obviously, we will try and organize it properly, but definitely interested in having real users test it. Our target group,
Thomas, can I just come in there and answer that question, how they actually can, participate? Because that's one of the follow-up items in the email, that I'm going to send each participant a certificate of attendance. But then you're also gonna get a mini survey, 2 minutes, about our event, because we always can learn from feedback. And the last question in the survey, now the survey is anonymous, and the last question is not mandatory, but it gives you the option. It asks you if you want to participate in our piloting phase. We're having another year to the end of next year in the project's duration. So we're gonna have next year our piloting, our testing, and in the last question, it invites you to add your email address or contact details. And then when you're starting testing, we will all come back to you and ask you for your valuable feedback. So that, I think, is the easiest. And again, it's an option. So, but it's as Thomas says, it's just wonderful to have so many participants with us today.
Yeah, Thomas, I have a question for you. So how is the matching system? How does it work? It's only if I meet with another player, or you're gonna consider age or something?
Right. So actually, the age thing is a good question. That's not something that we've actually talked about yet. How we will match that. The two choices that we do have on the table right now is basically that you can choose a player whom you want to play with by yourself. But also, if you just pick a level, then we will randomly assign one to you. But actually, the age thing is a good a good point, a really good point, Christian. Thank you for that one.
Okay. Yeah.
I'd like to ask to the group if you have any experience with cooperative games, preferably language learning games, but cooperative games. Is there any experience there, which of course would help us regarding the feedback you can give us to our game? Yes, please, Stratidakir. Sorry,
yes, no problem. Sorry. I'm attending university right now, so I'm a university student, and in our university there is a program that allows you to learn Chinese using some kind of cultural exchange, interactive website apps. So there are professors, student helpers, etc. And we have like 2 meetings each week where we get to study each time a specific theme, but I don't think it's very similar to yours. But we have to cooperate, talk with other students. We need to be able to communicate. We exchange emails and stuff. The fun thing about that is like you get to talk about the language with someone that's at the same learning level with you, because sometimes personally I find it really hard to communicate or get some answers from a professor or someone that's really fluent with the language. So having someone that can understand your struggles, for example, really helps with being more familiar, getting more familiar with the environment and the whole context of a language. So I think it's very important that you have created such a community-based game to learn a language, because it's just like going to a country and experiencing some stuff firsthand.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah, thank you for sharing this. Yeah.
I mean, I'm never ever afraid to also say that there is a vision here in terms of, I mentioned World of Warcraft initially, and obviously we don't have $100 million to create language learning games for, so that's a big difference when it comes to that. But I would find it extremely gratifying to be able to continue working on expanding the number of languages that we have and the content within those languages, so that we could actually end up creating some sort of world of language and cultural learning where you log in and you choose what is the European language or the global language that you want to learn, and you meet people in there, and you actually get to run through more cities in Denmark and more cities in Spain and Italy, et cetera, so that we continually expand this kind of thing.
Never a dull moment with Thomas and this team. No, but it's true. It's a whole concept that can, be further developed. Yeah.
And I also claim that I've never seen what we're building at the moment. I have never seen that in an educational context before. So please feel free to prove me wrong. But this kind of gamified learning experience with 3D environments where you run around with multiplayers and you put in an artificial intelligence aspect to it as well, I think is completely new.
There used to be a math game where they created a fantasy-based world where you need to solve some math equations at the same moment so you can unlock some puzzles of the game. I happened to do the trials and had a demo on my computer for that game. Let me see if I still have my notes for that, because I do remember that the company that created that came to our university and had us trial it, because of the first year we do run some math based lessons. Okay, hold on, let me get my notebook.
So it's a mixture of math and Chinese. Wow.
sorry. And it was mostly based on a single player aspect. So, because, oh yeah, it used to be named Variant Limits. That's how it was named. I don't know if it still exists, but it could be close to what you do. Like the 3D environment could be multiplayer, could be single player, puzzle based and stuff, but not on the same level of cooperations. But it's a good game if you want to check it out.
We'll definitely have a look. Thanks.
Hi, Thomas. I just wanted to ask, just curious, it just popped into my head. Will the game have Bluetooth support? Like if someone wanted to play on a controller that they could connect it to the PC and then be able to maneuver within the game?
It's not something that we've talked about, but also that is interesting. I think, I mean, Eugene, when you ask me, I will always say yes. But I think I will have to defer the the technical feasibility of the question to Stefan, who might just have passed out. But
I'm still here. Yeah, as Thomas said, we haven't really thought about it, but that could actually be a possibility. Are you thinking like a controller, like for?
Yeah. Because I find when it comes to PC gaming, even when it comes to gaming in general, like a lot of people are more inclined to play console games due to the comfort of having a controller, whereas a lot of people would be put off by a PC game from having to use a mouse and a keyboard. So just down the road, obviously from what you've seen so far, it's amazing. But if there was ever any thought to implement a Bluetooth controller, I definitely think it would allow the game to be more accessible to people.
Yeah, I mean it's doable. I know that, so that could actually be a feature down the road.
Yeah, great. Thanks. Yeah.
anything else? Otherwise, you are always welcome to come back with questions that might come up later on or similar, and we will absolutely do our best to answer them. And as you can see, I mean, there are also things coming our way now that we haven't really talked about or thought about, but it triggers the imagination and the creativity.
Maybe silence is good news. No, just yeah. Again, I would say, because you're going to be contacted with your individual cert, the shared recording, and then the link to the survey, and I'm going to attach the brochure where you have again the links. But it means if you have any further questions, we definitely would like to invite you. Maybe have a go at it, and then if you have further questions, come back to us via using email. And then, as I said, if you are interested, and we definitely would appreciate it in a huge way, if you are interested to give and share your contact details with us for our testing phase in the future. Because again, it probably takes a little bit of time to sink in. Then all the questions will pop up. May I invite any of our partners, any further comments before we close? And again, I think it's needless to say, we are amazed that we got so many participants, and I hope you enjoyed it with our, that's a brief idea. It's only a starting point. You get a notion now what the game is all about. So then we close. It might be too late to get a bit of sunshine, but there might be hope. So thank you so much for attending our webinar. Thank you so much to Thomas and his team for a magnificent demonstration of what it's all about. Thank you so much to the partners. It was most interesting to get the storylines from you rather than, just seeing the visual. I think that was a really nice combination with the visual and your summary, because again, you can see it's celebrating diversity. Every partner has their own style, and that is the value of Europe, the diversity. So wishing you a nice evening, what's left from it. Thank you so much, and then hopefully before the end of the week, you're gonna hear from us with that email and all the further information. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Ciao, bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye,
Ciao.
everyone. Hi, Thomas.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Ciao a tutti, grazie. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Grazie.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.